and we're going to show you how to use these.
You are now under the spell of advertisement.
Okay, so that was a good 20 shots to establish a proper zero. It's a bit more than I would normally use, but for this project we're going to be thorough. And as you see today, I'm shooting with Blaser, Blaser, Blaser and Blaser. And we're doing this in order to show you more Blaser. So if you have an inkling that these episodes are supported by Blaser, you would not be wrong.
You are now under the spell of advertisement.
So this is a laser range-finding binoculars with a ballistic component. And I've had these for a few days now, and my first impression is that they work, but I have made some decisions that are not conducive to the best end result for the user. Because the technology is there, but it is possible to use it wrong and get a less than desirable result. But sadly, these kind of mistakes are not unique to Blaser, and as I have demonstrated earlier in Tyrol, other brands make the same mistakes. Because the technology is there, but it is possible to use it wrong and get a less than desirable result. I just spent 20 shots establishing a good zero with the R8. I'm going to switch to the K95 and I'm going to do the same. Okay, that was a K95 zeroed as well. I only did 13 shots, and the main reason is the size of the silencers. I like to have my zero ever so slightly on the left side, so I gave it one left. And with the Mirage in the silencer, the group also opened up. But as you see, between the two rifles I have near identical zeros. And using the same ammunition, you could be fooled to believe that this would produce identical results. Every barrel is different, so this combination gave me 877 and this combination gave me 861. And this happens because every barrel is different. So although the ammunition is identical, you're going to see different velocities across different barrels. And to get the best use out of this, you really need to get a proper velocity from a chronograph. So the test is quite simple. Get your gear ready, do one shot and hit the target. And after that, do 5 shots, choose one of the rows, but choose a row where you are pretty sure you will hit every shot. And try to squeeze yourselves further and further down. That was the long range proficiency test done. And that is perhaps the 6 most useful shots you can do at 100-meter range. And what this does, the first shot settles all your gear. You can look at my channel. I have dozens of films explaining in detail what the long range proficiency test is. It's basically being familiar with your gear and knowing what sort of performance you consistently get out of your setup. Now this is 200 shots, and if you have the opportunity, I think this is a reasonable amount of practice ammunition to go through in 1 year. It's just enough to get you up at a decent level and put you well in touch with what you do for your own shooting. Because if you have no idea how you are shooting, it will be very difficult to say anything useful about the performance of these binoculars. Cone of fire is another important principle which you need to understand. This group started from your muzzle, and your muzzle opening is roughly the size of your bullet. That means it has opened up like a cone. So you need to establish the size of your cone, and you need to understand that each single shot will hit randomly somewhere inside that cone. Now as you move farther out, this cone is going to grow. Your bullet will still have the same size, but it is random where it hits inside this circle. Which means that at some distance, this cone will be larger than your target. So even though you do everything correctly and the rangefinder gives you a proper solution, the laws of randomness can put the shots high, or it can put the shot low. But if you are a click low or a click high, don't base your decisions on that single shot. Shoot a group and see where it's centered. Okay, let's input all of this data into the app and see what happens. bought this MagView magnet in order to show you exactly what's happening inside the binoculars. But sadly, the magnet isn't strong enough, so the moment I let go, it starts drifting, which, as you can imagine, is more than a little annoying. Okay, let's see what happens. It says 361, 1.7 up, or 17 clicks, because I have 1 centimeter clicks. So after the input, the binoculars said 1.7 or 17 clicks. Let's see what that does on the target. That was 21 suggested, 21 on the scope, and a single shot. Okay, so that was another center hit. So by all means the system works, but you're not buying yourself proficiency, and you're not really buying a skill set. The main work, as I have shown you, is in the basic marksmanship, fundamental handling of the rifle, fundamental rifle skills, knowing how to hold the rifle, knowing how to pull the trigger, knowing how to aim, and being aware of what you yourself are capable of. If you do that and input the data correctly into the app and binoculars, it sure looks like it's going to give you solid results. It's as center as it gets, and this is also the reason why I put my impacts at 100, 1 click to the left. If I hadn't, that one would have been out here, so I don't have to deal with spin drift at ranges where it becomes relevant. You will have to invest or borrow a chronograph to get the results as reliable as I just demonstrated. If you don't have reliable inputs, you're not going to have reliable outputs. So either budget a chronograph into the purchase, or make sure you can borrow one. You can verify range and manually input, as I tried to demonstrate and miserably failed in the last episode. The drawback of that is your data is not going to be valid for any longer than you have verified. With the system, as we have set it up here, you can't go straight from a normal shooting range and get fairly reliable results at the range, provided you know what you're doing.
This episode contains sponsored items. Before you go, subscribe, like, and comment. Click the bell if you want notifications of new episodes.
That's one of the major drawbacks with the Blaser rangefinder right there. This rangefinder does not communicate with these turret rings. So you have to get that special ring. It has 80 clicks, gives a numeric value, and makes it easier to convert the value that I'm going to get from my binoculars. Okay, so let's just do an easy demonstration. That's 391.9 meters, and it tells me to do 20 clicks up. So we'll just do that and we'll see what the result on the target is. It should be pretty much the same as the last episode. We have a calm wind and there's not really anything difficult about the shooting today. And here's another drawback: the app simply doesn't communicate with Android. So it looks horrible. I can see the range, but yeah, that's about it. Now 400 meters is not really any sort of challenge for these kind of systems. You can do huge mistakes and still get it right. Now let's do the ballistic bar. And I'm getting 608 and 44. Now, the beauty of the ballistic bar is that it's only 6 centimeters tall at 600 meters. And that means if I'm one click off, either up or down, I'm not going to hit it. And we also spoke about the cone of fire. So we're not going to set for one shot, we're going to shoot a group, and we can see if the group is on the ballistic bar or not. Now we had suggestions about 44 or 4.4 emerald and 43. And the lower one is due to the sun shining on the rubber here. It heats up the instrument and it makes a different calculation. So that is a source of error you need to be aware of. All instrument readings should be taken in the shade. That's how you calculate the atmosphere. Right. 608, 44 suggested. Let's see what that does. So that was 3 out of 5 on the bar. And when you figure in shooter error and the cone of fire, which I've tried to explain, that's pretty perfect. And this is the ballistic bar at 600. And the height of this bar is 6 centimeters or 1 scope clip exactly. So you see 1, 2, 3 shots on the bar and one is marginally under. And yeah, could have been anything. Could have been the cone of fire. There could have been the shooter error. And with an inferior ballistic solution, what you'll see, and which you have seen in my earlier episodes, is that you're typically going to land the shots very low and you have to click it up and correct it and do a ballistic through. And we've done nothing of such here. I have maintained the same point of aim and I have let the wind drift the bullet back and forth. So these 5 shots are shot at the best of my ability towards the same point of aim. So by all means the system works, but you need to do a proper setup and you need to be aware of the small quirks, like the sun exposure. So if I have used 4.3 or 43 clicks, all of my shots would have been low and I wouldn't have hit the bar once. But small quirks like that is something you have to know, and you have to take that into consideration when you're using the system, because I can guarantee you that it's not going to be covered by the official marketing. And to me, another significant drawback is that Blaser does not communicate with the QD system. I have to change the ring to have the 8-click version. For this system, it shouldn't matter at all which of these rings I put on my rifle. There is 0 compatibility between these two systems at present. So with the B2 rifle scope, you have to order the 80-click ring, and with the B1 rifle scopes, you already have a correct ring installed. And this mismatch is simply a result of not using a proper consultant. Okay, I spent as much time as I'm going to spend on these binoculars. I just wanted to show you how to get it working properly and don't do a half-assed job of setting it up and go out, shoot and make shots with poor results and big consequences. Change to the QD system now, and the best match I have for my trajectory is ring number 8. So we're going to exchange this ring with ring number 8. We're going to shoot at the target, just reacting to the range presented by the laser and clicking to the corresponding range on the QDC system. and we'll see what sort of results we're going to get. So what I'm reading on the turret here now is simply shooting range, and the ballistic calculations coming from the Blaser is no longer of any use. I can only use the range segment. It's 390, 400 minus 1. Center, same impact as before. Okay, so that was 10 shots on target. And as you see, the tendency is definitely high. These BDC rings work great as long as you keep range to 400 or below. Stretch it out to 500, you need a full custom BDC ring. With these industrial kits, limit your shooting distances to 400. 400 or less, these are going to work like a charm. And I really wish that BDC ring had communicated with the binoculars. Especially when you have a guide that might have another set of binoculars that will give him only range, and that's not worth anything for this ring. And this isn't in any way paid work. I'm only borrowing this equipment because I know there's going to be a lot of it on the market, and at least learn to set it up properly and don't do stupid things. Yeah, I'll retire the R8 now and I'll go over to the K95 and do some shooting for myself. Center. Yeah, that's enough.
Subscribe to the THLR channel by clicking the left logo icon, so you'll be shooting straighter than a drunk skunk before the sun shines over northern Norway.